6:54 in today's top stories. Former President Trump's second impeachment trial is set to begin today. We're talking with Joe St. George, our political correspondent in Washington this morning. Good morning, Joe. So our first question for you, what can we kind of expect to happen today as the trial begins?
Well, good morning, Abby. Today is really about the pomp and circumstance of another impeachment trial getting underway. And I do think it's important for people waking up in Green Bay to acknowledge this moment, right? I mean, this is not only the second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump, it's the first impeachment trial of a former president. So this is something we're going to talk about in our history books for quite some time. Today is about getting it underway, getting the procedural matters underway. The big debate is about the constitutionality of this trial. There's a number of conservatives, Republicans who say, look, President Trump is out of office. Former President Trump is out of office. Why are we going forward with this? Does the Constitution allow for it? But really, even before that debate gets underway, it's been muted by the fact Democrats have the vote to move it forward with the simple majority. They have the votes to move this into the next phase of this trial, which will be opening arguments, the prosecution, if you will, the House impeachment managers who are trying to get a conviction of former President Trump. They'll begin their case really in earnest tomorrow.
Now, you did mention President Trump is already out of office. So what would this trial kind of accomplish?
Well, I think the biggest thing that it will accomplish is that it will be the first real public accountability to the events of January 6th in the building behind me, right? And it's an event, and I'm not trying to make light of the Ukrainian allegations from the first impeachment trial, the Russian interference questions from the first impeachment trial, but the images of January 6th at the Capitol were an emotional event for Americans, millions of Americans. You didn't have to be in D.C. to feel connected to what happened at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. You could have been on your couch in Green Bay feeling emotional about what you were seeing. So I think that is really what this impeachment trial is at its surface going to be so significant. It's really the first major public accountability, the first major public discussion on what happened January 6th. How did that happen on January 6th? And again, even if President Trump is acquitted at the end of this, there will be a public dialogue about the events at the Capitol last month.
Of course. And now with lawmakers kind of focused on the trial right now, is this going to impact any of the COVID relief that could be passed?
You're right. If you're someone waking up in Green Bay this morning, the impeachment trial, it's important, but it doesn't necessarily impact your life as much as a stimulus check or unemployment benefits. The House of Representatives, you should know, has nothing to do with the impeachment at this point. It's squarely on the shoulders of the United States Senate. So the House is moving forward with drafting legislation to have a bill on President Biden's desk by the end of the month, most likely sometime in early March. Basically, what members of Congress are hoping for is that the House will be able to have passed a COVID bill by the time the impeachment trial is wrapped up. That will speed the process along, and that will make it that much more likely that people at home will be getting a stimulus check by mid-March.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Joe.